Welcome back to Byte-Sized Tech. We're not messing around today. We're diving straight into the swirling currents of the tech world.
Yeah, lots happening.
We've got our hands on a fascinating mix of recent reports, from the surprisingly sunny outlook of a Southeast Asian giant to some, cloudy skies in AI spending.
Mm-hmm.
And even a peek into the rapidly evolving landscape of robotics.
Right.
Think of it as your shortcut to feeling seriously in the know.
Absolutely. And what makes this collection of news so compelling, I think, is that it gives us this sort of multifaceted view of where the industry is heading.
Yeah.
The opportunities, the challenges, and perhaps most importantly, the unexpected turns.
Okay, so let's kick things off in Southeast Asia with Grab. These guys seem to be doing something right.
They really do.
Because they've actually upped their financial forecast.
Yeah.
Record revenue, loads of new users. What's their secret sauce?
Well, their super app strategy seems to be paying dividends. By integrating so many essential services, deliveries, transport, financial tech, all in one platform, they create a really sticky ecosystem for users in that region, something quite unique. It's like having your entire digital life bundled into one app.
Exactly. And they mentioned that being able to adapt their offerings is key to their growth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting how they're playing both ends of the field, right?
Yeah.
Offering budget-friendly options that now make up, like a third of their transactions?
Yeah, about a third.
But also catering to those who want premium services.
That's a smart strategic move, especially in such a diverse economic landscape. By appealing to both price-sensitive and less price-sensitive users, they build a more resilient user base.
Right.
It sort of potentially insulates them from economic fluctuations that might hit one segment harder,
Makes sense.
And their core services, food, transport, payments, tend to remain in demand regardless of the economic climate.
Yeah, people always need to eat and get around.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that gives them this inherent stability.
Now, here's a fascinating nugget. They're using AI to keep costs down. Apparently, over half their engineers are using AI tools.
Yeah, to work more efficiently.
Which means they're not having to hire as many people. It's a real-world example of AI impacting the bottom line, like right now.
It certainly is. And it underscores the immediate and practical ways AI is being implemented, boost productivity, optimize resources, and their focused approach to M&A, especially in Indonesia, that's a huge market.
Huge potential there.
Right. It signals a clear and pretty ambitious long-term strategy for, regional dominance.
Okay, all right, let's pivot to something that feels a bit less sunny. AI spending here in the West.
Okay.
We saw that Supermicro, a company that makes servers, had a bit of a stumble.
Right.
Pre-announcing that their results wouldn't be as strong as expected. What's the deal there?
Well, it looks like maybe a bit of a pause in purchasing. Customers seem to be eagerly awaiting NVIDIA's next-generation Blackwell chips. Think of it like everyone holding off on buying a new TV right before the super-duper new model hits the shelves.
So it's the tech equivalent of FOMO, fear of missing out.
Precisely, yeah. But it also highlights a potential pressure point in this whole AI infrastructure market.
How so?
Well, NVIDIA's rapid release cycle for new chips, it's almost yearly, now creates a constant challenge.
For whom?
For hardware manufacturers like Supermicro to keep pace, and frankly, for customers to absorb the costs and complexities of the latest tech.
And these new chips are power hungry, right?
Oh, yeah. The sheer power and cooling demands.
Yeah.
We're talking a jump from 140 kilowatts per rack for Blackwell to maybe 600 kilowatts for the next generation.
Wow.
That's a significant leap in infrastructure investment. Huge complexity for companies deploying cutting-edge AI.
And this ties into the massive amounts of money companies like Microsoft are pouring into AI, right?
Okay.
We saw figures north of $80 billion.
Yeah, huge swaths.
But is there a worry that customers aren't actually, using these AI services enough to justify that kind of spending?
That's the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? There's definitely a concern about whether the demand for AI consumption is keeping pace with this massive infrastructure build-out.
Right.
And look, the initial rollout and adoption of tools like Microsoft's Copilot, they haven't been without challenges.
Yeah, the word on the street was that the early versions weren't quite ready for prime time.
Mm-hmm.
And that might be making people a bit hesitant to jump back in. Perhaps.
That could be. Plus, it's tough to see the real value of something like Copilot if it's not deeply connected to a company's own internal data.
Right. It's like having a super smart assistant who doesn't know anything about your actual business.
Exactly. Without that enterprise data grounding, the insights Copilot can offer are more generic, less tailored. However, the argument that Microsoft ultimately benefits through their Azure cloud services is quite strong.
How does that work?
Well, even if other companies' AI applications take off, many of them will likely be running on Azure infrastructure.
So Microsoft gets a slice of the pie regardless.
Pretty much. So even if their own AI tools have a slow start, they're still positioned to cash in on the AI boom behind the scenes. It's a pretty clever position to be in.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But we're also seeing some broader economic jitters that could impact all this tech spending, right?
Absolutely. I mean, when the economic outlook is uncertain, businesses tend to tighten their belts.
Hold back on big investments.
Exactly. They become more cautious with major investments, including technology upgrades and new deployments. And that caution can create a ripple effect across the entire tech sector.
Okay, shifting gears again, let's talk robots. Boston Dynamics. Those folks with the incredibly agile, sometimes slightly creepy robots.
Yeah, them. Spot the dog bot.
Right. They're actually manufacturing 3 different robot products right here in the U.S.
Yeah.
It's pretty significant.
It is. They've moved beyond just demos and research into actively building and selling.
Like Spot. People are actually using Spot now.
Yeah, Spot's finding real-world applications.
Yeah.
And Stretch, their warehouse automation robot, that's seeing success with big players like DHL. And, of course, they're still working on humanoids.
And it sounds like AI is really accelerating how quickly these robots can learn new tricks.
It is dramatically speeding up the learning curve.
But one of the experts we heard from cautioned that there's still, like, a long way to go before we have truly capable humanoid robots.
Yes, absolutely. The complex tasks, fine motor skills, nuanced understanding of human environments, true autonomy, that still requires significant AI advancements.
It takes time.
It does, and it's worth remembering, it took Boston Dynamics about 3 years for Spot to go from, introduction to finding valuable, scalable customer applications.
Okay. Now, the big name in the humanoid robot conversation is Tesla with their Optimus bot.
Right.
It sounds like Boston Dynamics is definitely paying attention. What makes Optimus such a potential game changer?
Well, Tesla's primary advantage, I think, lies in its unparalleled ability to manufacture and deploy products at scale.
Because of the car factories.
Exactly. Thanks to its massive automotive production infrastructure, this gives them a potential pathway to mass-producing humanoid robots at a cost that might be difficult for others to match.
But Boston Dynamics isn't exactly small fry anymore, are they?
No, and they have a significant advantage of their own through their connection with Hyundai.
Ah, right. Hyundai owns them.
Yeah, which could provide both manufacturing muscle and a massive potential customer for their robots.
Interesting. So it's kind of a 2-horse race, maybe, each with unique strengths?
Sort of. It'll be fascinating to see who can crack the code of both effective AI and scalable production.
Definitely. Now, let's wade into the somewhat less glamorous world of advertising.
Okay.
It sounds like things might be getting a bit bumpy based on reports from Snap and Meta. Snap's revenue was okay in Q1,
It's just okay.
but they're not giving a forecast for the rest of the year, citing economic uncertainty. That doesn't exactly scream confidence, does it?
No, it doesn't. When a company cites macroeconomic headwinds and uncertainty about advertiser spending, it's generally, a cause for concern.
Yeah.
Platforms like Snap, which advertisers might see as less critical than, say, Google or Meta,
They get cut first.
they tend to feel those budget cuts first. We even saw reports of Chinese retailers, a big ad segment, already pulling back spending on Snap.
Right. And historically, marketing budgets are among the first things to get trimmed when companies feel uneasy about the economy.
Exactly. It's like the canary in the coal mine for broader economic troubles.
So while Snap's trying to diversify with subscriptions...
Yeah, Snapchat Plus.
Oh, that's still a pretty small piece of the pie, isn't it? Like 10%?
Around that, yeah.
Yeah.
A relatively small portion of their overall income. And despite having this huge global user base, almost 1 billion people,
Still losing money, though.
they still reported a net loss last quarter. And their user growth in North America, which is their most profitable market, has actually slowed down, declined even.
Ouch. And with all the uncertainty around TikTok's future in the U.S., you'd think that might be a boost for Snap.
You might think so.
But it sounds like the expectation is that most of that displaced ad spending would probably go to the even bigger players.
Like YouTube and Instagram.
Yeah.
That's the general consensus. While Snap might see a slight uptick, the larger, more mature platforms with broader reach are likely to be the primary beneficiaries if TikTok ad spend shifts significantly.
And even Meta, the giant, Facebook and Instagram.
Ah.
They're expected to show growth, But they're also facing potential headwinds, right?
Yeah, from antitrust issues, maybe tariffs, and those same Chinese retailers potentially cutting back on ad spend there, too.
So it seems like the digital advertising market as a whole is facing some pretty significant uncertainty right now.
It does. It's a confluence of economic jitters and geopolitical factors, creating a challenging environment for companies that rely heavily on ad revenue.
Okay, let's try for a slightly more optimistic look at the future of commerce. Let's talk about Visa. They're apparently working on AI agents that will be able to buy things on our behalf. That sounds kind of sci-fi.
It does, doesn't it? And Visa is clearly making a significant bet on this tech. They're developing AI-powered Visa credentials and protocols designed to build trust and security around these agent-based transactions for everyone involved, consumers, merchants, financial institutions.
So the idea is you could set parameters for your AI shopping assistant, like a budget, preferred brands, maybe even how long it should search for the best deal.
Exactly.
And it would go out and make purchases for you, all within a secure Visa framework.
That's the vision.
Yeah.
And their partnerships with major AI players, OpenAI, Microsoft, Google, suggest this isn't just some far-off dream.
They're serious.
Yeah, it's something they expect to roll out relatively soon, maybe within the next few quarters.
Wow. So it sounds like Visa is trying to position itself as the essential trusted layer in this new era of AI-driven commerce, making sure that even platforms like, say, Ticketmaster feel comfortable accepting purchases made by these autonomous agents.
That's precisely their aim. They see this as a long-term evolution of digital commerce.
Like e-commerce or mobile payments before it.
Exactly. They adapted then. They're aiming to be central now. The implications for advertising are also fascinating. How will companies market to us when AI agents are handling more purchasing decisions?
Good question. Okay, finally, let's circle back quickly to Tesla and their robotaxi plans.
Right.
It looks like the initial launch in Austin won't involve that futuristic cyber cab we saw teased a while back.
No, apparently not.
It's going to be a bit more conventional.
Yes, the initial robotaxi service launching in Austin will likely use existing Tesla models, probably the Model Y.
Okay.
And there might even be a safety driver behind the wheel, at least at first.
Because their current full self-driving supervised system still needs a human paying attention, right?
Okay.
Ready to take over.
That's correct. The immediate goal seems to be gradually removing that supervised aspect, but only for fully autonomous operation in specifically geo-fenced areas, starting small in Austin.
Got it.
They're heavily focused on refining the system to handle those tricky edge cases that can still stump autonomous driving systems, minimizing the need for human intervention.
So it's a more step-by-step approach to rolling out fully autonomous taxis than maybe some people anticipated?
Seems that way.
Focusing on reliability and safety in controlled environments first before expanding out.
Precisely. It's a pragmatic and probably quite cautious approach to introducing autonomous vehicles into real-world transportation.
Wow. Okay. We have covered a seriously broad spectrum of the tech world today.
We really have.
From the resilience of Grab in Southeast Asia, the complexities of AI spending, the steady progress in robotics, the shifting sands in the advertising market, Visa's AI shopping agents, and Tesla's measured steps towards robotaxis. It really underscores how interconnected all these different areas of technology are.
It does.
And how they're all being influenced by these larger economic forces at play.
It definitely does. And it leaves you wondering, doesn't it? With all these rapid advancements in AI and automation happening across so many sectors, what fundamental transformations do you think we'll see, in our daily lives and the global economy, maybe over the next few years? It's a pretty profound question.
Absolutely. A lot to chew on there. Thanks for diving deep with us today on Byte-Sized Tech.
My pleasure.
If you found this insightful or even just interesting, be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more explorations into the ever-evolving world of technology. Thanks for tuning in.